Hello. We've got one more minute and then we'll get started. Okay. Hello and welcome to part 6 of our series Becoming Cleoria Dunn, inspired by Michelle Obama. I want to let you guys know that part 6 will be our last episode in the book, and then we will go on to another book that helps us with esteem and various things that we're believing for in our lives. Now, the title of our series tonight is Putting on Your Oxygen Mask First. Now, how many of you are aware of the rule of flying when it comes to putting on your oxygen mask? Well, the rule says that you're supposed to put on your oxygen mask before you put on anyone else's, even your baby. You have to put yours on first. And their reason for asking us to put ours on first is because when you're losing oxygen, you get delusional and shapes begin to look differently. So when you're trying to put the mask on, you think you're putting it on right here, then you're missing your face and you eventually fall out, and we've always thought, well, I'm going to put the oxygen on my child first before I put it on myself. But that is the reason they ask you to do that. And so tonight I want us to talk about that. Our First Lady, Michelle Obama, in her memoir, that's exactly what she did. She put her mask on first before she put her husband's or anybody else's on. And we're going to follow some things in her life that she did to show us how she put that oxygen on first. I invite you to share your ideas at the end of the session. I really would appreciate some feedback tonight. Raised by parents that set no limits as far as her abilities, our forever First Lady believed there was nothing she couldn't do or accomplish if she tried. It all began in kindergarten when she struggled to say the word white and did not receive her star from Mrs. Burroughs. On page 18, she talks about the two smartest kids in the class, and that was Chica, an African American girl, and Teddy, a Korean American boy. And she said that they remained at the top of the class for years to come. So they were very smart. She said, I was driven to keep up with them. When it came my turn to read the words off the manila cards, I stood up and gave it everything I had. But it wasn't until the letters WHITE came up that I froze altogether. She said her mouth got dry. She felt awkward. She said she even felt like her knees were bending. She said, but the teacher told her, okay, go on and sit down. And I could just imagine myself, because I'm an educator, And I know when kids are trying so hard and you hate to say, sit down, because you know they don't want to sit down. But the teacher had to go on and tell her to sit down because she could not pronounce the word. Well, she did not pronounce the word white at that time. She went to bed that night thinking of that word, and she couldn't wait until the next morning. But to her surprise, Mrs. Burroughs wasn't doing the words today. And she was like, no, she was ready. She said, because I can pronounce the word. I know the word. I'm ready to do it. But the teacher said no. Well, at least she thought she was going to continue to say no. But of course, Michelle persisted because she wanted her star, like Chica and what's the young man's name? And Teddy. She wanted her star. So when Mrs. Burroughs said no, cheerily, adding that we kindergartens had other things to get to, I demanded, and that's on page 19 in the book. She said, I pitied the other kids that had to listen to me say these words over, but I was not stopping until I said those words. She said I was going to prove that I could get a star. And she was going to also prove to the teacher that that little black girl from the South Side was as smart as the other kids. She said she was quick, and of course she did say them all, and she was quick to claim her trophy. And it was a little golden foiled star. And I tell you, she was very young, but she was already advocating for herself. And like I said, I'm talking about putting your mask on first, okay? Later, she attended Whitney Young High School, which was a magnet school. It was there she met a counselor who told her that she was not Princeton material. Yes, she said, you are not Princeton material. Now, I'm going to read an excerpt from the book. It's on page 65. I'm going to start at the bottom of the page of 65. Okay. She says, it is possible, in fact, that during our short meeting, the college counselor said things to me that might have been positive and helpful, but I recall none of it because, rightly or wrongly, I got stuck on one single sentence the woman uttered. I'm not sure, she said, giving me a perfunctory, patronizing smile, that you're Princeton material. She literally said that to her. Her judgment was swift as it was dismissive, probably based on a quick glance calculus involving my grades and test scores. It was some version, I imagine, of what this woman did all day long with practiced efficiency, telling seniors where they did and didn't belong. I'm sure she figured she was only being realistic. I doubt she gave our conversation another thought. And it just amazes me how people can tear you down and really feel like they're doing their job. But as I said, failure is a feeling long before it's an actual result. And for me, it felt like that's exactly what she was planting. A suggestion of failure long before I tried to succeed. She was telling me to lower my sights, which was the absolute reverse of every last thing my parents had ever told me. That's why I say parents are so important. She remembered what her parents said to her. Regardless, although this woman is looking to her eye to eye and saying, you don't belong in Princeton, she still remembered that her parents said, there's nothing you can't do. I believe in you. You're the world's greatest. So those words were speaking to her against everything else this lady was saying. She said, had I decided to believe her, her pronouncement would have toppled my confidence all over again, reviving the old thrum of not enough, not enough. But she refused to believe what that counselor said to her. She continued to get paperwork done. She went past her. As a matter of fact, she said she went to the principal to get him to write her a letter of recommendation because she knew that he knew her. And he wrote that letter of recommendation. And of course, all of us know the end of the story. She was accepted, and not only accepted, but she did well at Princeton. So we're going to run into those people that don't believe. But we have to continue to believe in ourselves and in our abilities. Now, she goes on to say that she's met a lot of successful people, and she's learned all of them have had doubters. She says the noise doesn't go away. So it doesn't matter how far up you get up the ladder, you're still going to have somebody that doubts your abilities. She says, but the most successful people I know have figured out how to live with it, to lean on the people who believe in them and push onward with their goals. And that's what you have to do. If you have a goal, you have to continue to move forward, regardless to what somebody else is saying about what you believe. Now, a little bit about myself. I did not come from a goal-oriented family. I never set goals before I began reading and finding out how important they were. As I mentioned earlier, I was raised by my grandparents. Thank God for my grandparents. They loved me. And I thank God for them every day. They grew up in a time when times were really hard. And they never forgot how hard times were. So they always told me limits that had been set for them. And sometimes they told me that I would have limits. So I grew up under that umbrella thinking, okay, I know I'm not going to be able to do everything. And I know that if there's a job, that the white person is going to get the job over me, because they told us how superior white people were to us growing up. So I always felt inferior. And sometimes, even to encourage us, sometimes they would say the meanest things. You know, you're not going to be anything. You're going to be just like your mama. She wasn't anything. You're not going to be anything. And those things grow up in you. You begin to have faith in those things. So like I'm saying, a goal, what was a goal? I didn't know anything about a goal. But again, I say how thankful I am for them. And when I went to school, I did good in elementary. I did okay in other grades, but I didn't do my best. I could have done a whole lot better in high school, but I just moseyed on through. I remember when I was in my 12th grade year, one of my teachers saw something in me. I remember Mr. Atkins, and I know some Wasson people on here. I know y'all remember Mr. Atkins. And Mr. Atkins chose to put me in advanced English because he saw something in me. He saw my abilities. He knew I could do it. And he knew I wasn't doing my best work. But I was thankful because I always saw the kids that were in advanced classes as smarter than me, you know, and to be able to join them, that really made me feel good, you know. I see you, Mel. Mel says me too, you know, because you do feel that, and it's just amazing how we have these inferiorities, you know. They grow up in us, and they are forever with us until we begin to do some research and learn better on our own. But when I decided to go back to college, I made up for it. Now, when I was younger in college, I didn't do good. But when I got older in college, I did so much better. As a matter of fact, I was on the dean's list. Lots of times I was on the president's list. So I did really well. And when I graduated, y'all, in my undergrad, because of not doing so good at first, when I first got in school, I graduated with a 2.94. Can you believe it? A 2.94. A tenth of a point from a 3.0. But I just rounded it on up anyway. I still say I got my 3.0. I don't care what ULM says. I say I got a 3.0. Now, I'm still talking about putting on your mask. Doing something for yourself first. Because we all, like I said, now, if I'm on the plane, I'm going to be trying to see if I can put that mask on my child. If my child is on that plane with me, because that's my motherly instinct. But the rule says, no, put your mask on. Okay? And let me tell you some things about Michelle. She talks about how focused she was on her agenda when she was in school. She said, beneath my laid-back college demeanor, I lived like a half-closet CEO, quietly but unswervingly focused on achievement. That is so important. I'm so glad you joined, Denicia. That is so important that you focus on your achievement, on being the best that you can be. Everything else is going to come in its time. Everything else is going to come in its time. She says, when you work hard, you get results. You know, she went from Princeton to Harvard. And of course, she says, you get results, she says, and you get rewards. She said she found herself on the 47th floor of Sydney and Austin's law firm. Now, I want to talk, I'm going to move over a little bit about one of my other books, because that's what we're going to be talking about. That's what we're going to be talking about in our next session. And I'm going to talk to you about that really quickly in a few minutes. But Dorothea Brand says in her book, she says, we live so far below our possible levels of our lives that when we are set free from the things which hamper us, things like fear, what's another word? When you're just procrastination. She says that when you're free from those things, that we merely approach the potential, our potentials, that we seem to have entirely transfigured, to be transfigured. And what I mean by that is that's what happened with our First Lady when she decided, I'm not going to let fear hold me back. I'm not going to procrastinate. I'm going to keep moving. I don't care what this counselor has said. I'm going to move toward my goal. And when she did this, she was transfigured. She was in places that no other African American has ever gone before. But it was because she decided to move forward. Now, she finds out a little bit later that she's going to be mentoring this young man. And she already thinks this man is too good to be true. They're saying he's the best law student. One professor said he was the best law student he ever had. And she was thinking, okay, What are these white people talking about this black man? He can't be everything that they're saying that he is. So in walks Obama. In walks Obama. He's late for his appointment, and she thinks, okay, I told you. He can't be any of those things that they say he is. Long story short, this man becomes her husband. He becomes the first African American president of the United States. He's so interested in her. She's doing so well. Like I said, she's already a lawyer. That he's coming on to her day after day after day, and she's saying, no, no, Barack. She's even trying to fix him up with some of her friends because she's not interested. Because her goal was to be successful. And she was successful. She was very successful. And she took care of that part of her life first. So I'm saying to us, put your oxygen on first. Take care of you. Get the things that you need. Take care of yourself educationally. Take care of yourself health-wise. Do the things that you need to do. You're not going to miss anything. If Mr. Right is out there, you're not going to miss him because, I mean, if you look, she didn't miss him. She got it. Now, set a goal for yourself. Earl Nightingale says people with goals succeed because they know where they're going. Stick to that goal and believe in your abilities. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Don't stop until you achieve your goal. Don't let the fear of time it will take to accomplish something stand in your way of doing it. The time will pass away anyway. We might just as well put the passing time to the best possible use. And that's Earl Nightingale again. I want to share a short thing about myself. In 2000, I think it was 2007, I graduated from ULM again. And this time I graduated in administration. My professor called me. He said, Cleoria, he said, I'm looking at your transcript. He said, and you have enough classes and you're graduating. And I was like, really? He said, yeah. He said, now let me tell you what I want you to do. I want you to come and take your comps. After you take your comps, then you'll graduate. I want y'all to listen to this very closely for me. I went and I took my comps. Y'all, I failed my comps. The instructor called me back and he said, Cleoria, he said, are you having some problems in your personal life right now? And I said, yes, sir, there's some things going on. He said, I thought that it was. He said, because you failed your comps. He said, but I'm going to give it to you again. Yes, y'all. He said, I'm going to give it to you again. And I took him over and I prepared for graduation. I graduated. But let me tell you something else. That was in 2007. I took the test to be a principal. One time I didn't pass it. I took it another time. I didn't pass it again. And I worked with people, and everybody that I saw that was taking their test, I encouraged them. I never told anybody that I didn't pass my test. I just kept saying, you can do it, you can do it. And do you know those people came up younger than me and went and passed the test? Several of them went before me and passed the test. Let me tell you what happened to me. I allowed fear to set in. And I didn't move forward with it for years and years. And I'm saying this so I can help somebody. Fear is torment. It will stop you in your tracks. And you will watch everybody around you that set a goal moving up. And you're not jealous of them, because I wasn't jealous. I just knew I wasn't taking care of Clee. I wasn't putting on my oxygen. You've got to put on your oxygen, and you've got to do what you've got to do. Well, I'm here to tell you, I put my oxygen on. It's been a while since I've taken the test, but I decided to take a class to help me to pass this test, because I'm going to take it again and I'm going to pass it. And before I say anything else, I'm looking at Melody. She says, Joyce Meyer said, do it, afraid. That has blessed my heart and helped me do a lot of things. And she's just saying, yeah, sometimes you may go in there shaking, but go on and do it anyway. And you're going to come out on the other side anyway. I always told my children, that's how you beat fear, one step at a time. You just keep moving toward that goal. And before you know it, it's accomplished. Like I said, I'm going to be a principal this year. I'm going to pass the test, and I'm going to be a principal. Christy says, as a child and still today, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, is a verse I live by. And that's so important. Now, I will say again, don't let fear stop you from accomplishing your goals. Take them one step at a time. Set a goal. If you've never set a goal, set a goal. I have a vision board now. I get up in the morning. I say what's on my vision board. I see it, and I say those things, because I know if I keep saying them, they're going to come to pass. If you don't have a vision board, get you a vision board. Put it up there and look at it, and call those things forth that you want to happen in your life. And they're going to happen. Now, in closing, because I'm going to close tonight, I want to ask if anybody has anything else they'd like to say. Anybody? Anybody struggled with fear and you want to share it with us? Okay. My granddaughter just sent me a heart. Thank you, Kylie. Now, remember, set goals. Stick with them. Believe in your abilities. Don't stop until you get it. If you fail one time, keep moving like that train. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. And before long, you'll be saying, I know I can. I know I can. I did it. I'm going to sign off. All you have to do, Christy says, I almost gave up, but God. Yes. I think that's all of our testimonies. We almost gave up. And guys, I want to tell you that the next book, I'm not going to be on next week. I'm not going to be on for 2 more weeks. But when we come back, this is the book that we will be talking about, Wake Up and Live. Guys, this is a powerful book about using your imagination and to believe for bigger and better things in your life. It's a great book. If you don't have it, please go out and get this book. It is a great book. Thank you for not allowing the negative things that happen define you. You're such an encouragement. Thank you, Leontine. Is that how I say it? McClinton. Thank you so much for saying that. Remember, guys, set your goals. All you have to do is know where you're going. The answers will come to you of their own accord. All you have to do is know where you're going. Have a great night. Thanks for watching. See you guys in 2 weeks. Get the book. Wake Up and Live. Dorothea Brand.